Let's let's get this thing kicked off. And as we always do, let's start off with a volunteer. I'm not sure who that will be. Maybe it's going to be Boyd. I'm not sure. Walking around the room, or oh, it looks like it's going to be Bob walking around the room with the microphone. Thank you, Bob. And it's all yours. Go for it.
What, introduce myself? That's redundant. Wilson, W4BOH, Hillsboro. I'll share.
That was the other part. That was the other part. I'm W4FK Bob from Hillsboro.
Paul, N2XF from Butner.
Dan, KR4UB, Southwest Chapel Hill.
Thanks for sharing the mic with us, Wilson. I'm Matthew, KQ4ZYW, and also nice shirt, Bob.
Dave, NA4VY, Mebane.
Karen, KD4YJZ, Effland.
Thought Dave was going to say Cedar Mebane.
So Ron, KO4RON, Pittsburgh.
Kevin, KW4EE, Pittsburgh.
Chip, KF4WBK, Chapel Hill. I'm the cookie guy.
John, going for my tech license next Saturday.
Congratulations.
All right, good luck, man. We'll be here. 2 weeks.
Dave, W4SAR, Effland.
All right. And one more guy. Last but not least. You need a wrist, man.
Boyd, KO4GJO, Hillsboro.
Thanks, Bob. Let me, as we do when I'm in the room, let me now turn this over to Lori, and she can go through everybody that's on Zoom. So make sure everybody knows that.
So you can obviously see you're looking at two of us, Bruce N1LN, and me, Laurie N1YXU, JR N4JQR, Charles KQ4T.
Tango November Foxtrot.
AM.
It's cold in New
Brad,
York.
WKC1 KWR. Dan, soon to have a call sign, and Dan, welcome and good luck as you're continuing studying and taking the test.
Sure.
Jerry, KR4DTD. Randy, KF4O. Chuck, WW4L. Aurora, KN4VXB. And Mike, KN4ZHP. Are there any folks on Zoom that I did not list? And if you are on Zoom, if you don't mind, please muting unless you're speaking, that would be awesome. All right.
Okay, so Lori's going to bring up the presentation now, and we can run through the agenda. It's coming. Okay. So there's the agenda. We did the check-ins, opening comments. Let me just kind of welcome everybody to the August meeting. I heard somebody say it's colder in New York. Today it was 89 here, and with a heat index in the low 90s. But I also heard somebody say earlier that it was 62 there, I think last night or night earlier in the week. Our low here so far has been, I think, about 54, which is, yeah, there's thumbs up. That's wonderful. That's open windows nights. But right now the air conditioning is on. And, you know, when we say we're going to camp, you know, if you're from the north, camp means one thing. For us, it means you better have central air because it's hotter up here than it was when I was a kid. But anyway, we're having a good time up here. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. So that's about it for my opening comments. So we're going to hear from Boyd about the Christmas party. We're going to talk more about succession planning. We've had quite a few of the presentations. We're going to conclude tonight with Ron giving you the treasurer succession planning pitch, and Boyd telling you about the VP. And then I'm going to wrap it up and tell you what the next steps are now that we have finished all of the succession planning. Then we'll turn it over to Ron to go through the quarterly treasurer's report. And then it'll come back to me to talk about something we talked about at the last board of directors meeting, which is the
Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce,
Yeah.
we had about a 15-second power failure. So let's see. We heard Ron. I guess it's time for Boyd to talk.
Okay. Is everything back on?
Yeah, we're up now, but
Okay. Well, did you hear what I was saying about the membership meeting programs thing?
we heard that Ron was going to say something, and Boyd was, and so you're down to treasurer's report.
Okay. All right. I'll just finish that up. So then Ron's going to give us a quarterly treasurer's report, and then we're going to talk about membership meeting program survey. At the last board of directors meeting, one of the topics we usually have on the agenda is what are the next programs we're going to have at the membership meeting? What type of programs would we want? Who do we think might be presenters? What kind of interest there is? And a couple guys volunteered to put together a survey. So I won't steal the thunder for that until we get there. But that'll be the last part and then closing comments. So with that, let's turn it over to Boyd, and he can give us an update on what's going on with the Christmas party. Over to you, Boyd.
All right, thank you. This year's Christmas party will be December 8th. I'm going to be sending out a couple emails over Groups.io to get some volunteers. I need 2 or 3 people to volunteer to help get the various stuff that we need. If you think back to the last Christmas party with the tablecloths and the centerpieces and the prizes that were sent out, one person going around collecting all that stuff is a bit much. I think Lori had a team of 3 people doing it last year. So if I can get couple or 3 people to sign up to help with that between now and the party. Also, I'm gonna see about getting some people to volunteer to show up early and help set up the tables at the Christmas party. It's going to be at the same place it was, which was Union Grove United Methodist Church. I believe it's 6 p.m. if I remember correctly. But the round tables are all put away in a closet, so we need to break out the tables and distribute them and set up chairs and put on tablecloths and everything. So there will be more to follow with that. I do have a sign-up sheet here at the table for the Christmas party, and there's also a sign-in sheet for tonight if I don't know if Lori needs us to do that or not.
That's
Union Grove United Methodist Church, December 8th, the same night that would normally be our membership meeting. Usual cost was $10 a person. And I think that about sums it all up.
Okay. If anybody has any questions that's on Zoom, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask Boyd. Boyd, I'm not there to sign up, but you can put me down to help set up.
Okay. All right. I'll stop by the table here before you leave.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Oh, there's a question.
Okay, looks like it's my turn. So this is about the treasurer and succession planning. So before me, Dan was the treasurer since like 1968, and finally decided to see if anyone would be willing to follow him for a year and then take over when the year changed. And I agreed to do that. It turned out not to be so hard. He had everything nicely organized and explained how it all worked. And so I'm going to briefly go through some of that with you all and see if I can convince someone to maybe shadow me for a bit. I'll be completing the first year of a 2-year term. So we've got a year before I'm up for election again, or can leave and have someone else take over, however that works out. So let's go on to the next slide. I made these slides a while back, so I'll have to remind myself how they work. Okay, so here are the responsibilities. We create, we track, we report the club budget. So, you know, the budget is just what we plan, what we know in advance we're going to do. So at the beginning of the year, we make that budget. There's a spreadsheet. You just update it. Every month, I take whatever the revenue and expenses were that were for budgeted items and copy those into there. And then once a quarter, create and present some slides with past quarter's details. You'll see an example of that later in this meeting. The other thing is to track and report the finances, which is a little different than the budget. It's not what was planned, it's what actually is. So every month I have an Excel spreadsheet where we put all the revenue and all the expenses into there. Once a quarter, then make slides. You'll see those. The only other thing really that goes on with that is managing the investment CDs the club owns. So we have a couple of CDs. In fact, in September, one of them will mature. It's easy enough. You just tell the bank, we're going to roll it over another year. So about every 6 months, one of those matures. In case we needed to grab some money, we would grab that one. Otherwise, we pay the club bills, and most of that is auto pay. You do have to sign some paperwork at the bank to act as a signatory with the president. So if I get hit by a bus, then Bruce can sign checks and vice versa. You manage the club member due payments. So about once a week, I go off to our PayPal account and see if anybody has paid their dues. And if so, I make some updates of some records there. And about once a month, I'll send out some reminders. There's a report you can run that will tell you who has expired or is about to expire. Send them a nice note saying, hey, did you forget? There's a post office box. It's currently in Carborough. We have a safety deposit box. And so I have keys for those. That's the main responsibilities. Any questions so far? Okay, next slide. Okay, what do I like about the position? You do get to know more of the club members, especially new ones, because they're joining on the website. They may send you an email saying, hey, I've found this radio club thing. What is this? Tell me a little bit about it. And I'll try to send a nice encouraging note. Welcome. We'd love to have you. We've got some nice people, et cetera, et cetera. We do get to participate. You're on the board of directors, so you participate with the leadership team, figuring out what kind of activities we're going to do, what our future direction is going to be. Okay. And then why consider being the treasurer, part of the board of directors? You get to be a little more active, you contribute, and it's a nice direct way to bring new ideas and new fun activities to the table. So for example, the little reminder notes that some of you have gotten, I realize that as bad a memory as I have, I would probably forget to pay my dues if somebody didn't remind me. So I started doing that, and I'll be darned if we didn't get scads of people like, oh, yes. And people who had let their membership lapse for, some of them for years, said, oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So that's nice. What else do we have? Another slide, or was that the end? Okay, so what are the next steps? Talk to me after this meeting. You can send me an email. You can get more details about it. There's my email address, ko4ron@aorl.net. We could sit down over a Zoom call and do one of the, go through the Excel spreadsheet over a month or so. And, you know, if you want to do it, then I can watch you do it the next month, right? Figure out how it's done, see that it's not too scary, it's not too magical. You could go attend a board meeting, help me present the report, and then I hope someone will become an assistant treasurer for a time, learn the job. So when I have to get booted, then we got somebody who can do it. I enjoy it. It's good. Good stuff. Oh,
Any questions for Ron from Zoom or from in the room?
hopefully it's the last slide. Otherwise we get a
Yeah, it is.
premature clap. Okay, good. Thank you.
Any questions for Ron? Okay, and let's go over to Boyd for the vice president succession plan.
Okay, Vice President, it's a 2-year term, so you're not gonna have to pick another one until 2026. Bryce, the duties include taking over for the president's duties when he's not here. Provide leadership, identification of presentation of programs at club meetings. That can be anywhere from figuring out what might be a good program and getting somebody else to present it, or you presenting something. If you come up with any ideas, or if the person you're trying to get to come present it doesn't respond to the emails right away. But I think that's worked out pretty good in the past. So she'll also serve as a liaison between the Durham FM Association and other clubs that we're holding joint activities with, such as Field Day, things along that line. I need to do a little bit better in those areas. Also coordinate the planning for the annual Christmas party, which gets back to what I had said earlier. I'll add one thing. It's anything assigned to the vice president at the board of directors meeting that you neglected to attend. All those opposed? None. The ayes have it.
I like that one, Boyd. Yeah, for the benefit of people that have never attended the board of directors meeting, it is a policy that we're trying to get put into, get it voted on and put into law, if you will, that if somebody does not attend the meeting, they get all the action items. So, yeah. And I think Boyd missed one meeting and he walked away with an action item. Thanks, Boyd. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it very much. All right, so let me just talk a little bit about the update. Okay. As I said earlier, all the positions have been presented. We've gone through president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. We have gone through the repeater lead. We have gone through the trustee for the licensed trustee. We have talked about field day planning. Okay, we have not really gone through what a board of directors individual is responsible for. And perhaps we should do that, but if that we can send that out so people can see what that role and responsibility is. But so far, after the presentations have been given, we have had 3 people that have come forward, and they are 2 of them are in the one in the room and one on Zoom. Matt Stafford, KQ4ZYW, he has voiced an interest in being the secretary. At the last membership meeting, Matt and Lori worked together, sat together, worked together, and he's really getting his arms around that position. And thank you very much, Matt, for coming forward. And Lori is sitting here. There's her hands, clapping her hands. And those of you that are fans of whatever Miami school it is, that's not the,
Florida.
yeah, Florida, that's not the alligator.
Not the
That's,
Gators.
yeah, that's not a gator. That's Lori Clapping. Ben Williams, KO4BHX, has volunteered to run to be a volunteer to be a board member. And Brad, who's on Zoom tonight, WZ4BSS. He definitely wants to get more active in the club. Not sure exactly what position he wants to move forward as. However, what he and I talked was, well, maybe get into be a board of directors person for a year, get a handle of what's going on with the club. And the club can, you know, understand where your interests are, and then maybe next elections you can say, well, I want to do this, or maybe during the year you can say, hey, I want to do this. So thank you very much to Brad. Positions that are not up for reelection are the two you just heard about, vice president and treasurer. They are still in their, first period post-election. We're pleased about that we don't have all the leadership team coming up for reelection this year. And thank Boyd and Ron for being in those positions. And also that's why we put them last for the presentations, because they're not up for reelection this year. However, you can see at the bottom of the slide, we do have some positions at risk. One is the president, me. I have been president now for 4 years, and that's the end of the term limit, if you will. And I would like to take a break anyway, because I believe that, you know, after 4 years, it gets to the point where I don't know if I have any new and unique ideas, and I don't want to be boring and hold the club back. So it'd be great if we had somebody come forward and say, hey, I'd like to be president. And, you know, we can, go through the discussion process and voting process, and then we would have a new president. The election is for 2 years, okay? But you can rerun and make it 4, which is essentially why I was here for 4 years. Call sign trustee, very important. Dan made a presentation about that, I believe at the last meeting or maybe 2 ago, and that Dan has been the call sign trustee for many, many years. He put together an excellent description of what the roles and responsibilities are as far as working with the FCC, working with Sarah, okay, and also working with monitoring the repeater, which is not a 7/24 responsibility. No, you don't need to wear headphones wherever you go. But there is an excellent job description that Dan put together. And if anybody has a question about, what really is that, we can send that out again. But we really would like to get somebody to take over that role. If indeed, something, heaven forbid, should happen to Dan, then our license gets kind of put on hold for a while until we can figure out working with the FCC and all that, try to get all of that stuff done. And I'm sure I can speak for Dan when I say this, it's not a difficult job, but it's one where you just have to do the roles and responsibilities and tasks must be done on time. Okay. And you've got a whole bunch of folks that can help you remember that. And we have some board of directors positions that will be open. And I say possibly open. Well, we've got 3 or 4 people, but we don't have a limit on how many board members we can have. So and that'd be a great way if somebody's not sure what they want to do, like Brad is doing, come join us. Say you want to be a board of directors person, and we'll get you on the ballot, and we can go through the voting when we do that in January. Okay, so now that everybody is interested in one of those positions, what do you do? What action should you take if interested in joining the leadership team? Simple, just reach out and let us know. You can contact the person in the position you're interested in. And in Ron's presentation, he gave you his email address. Boyd's is also available. I don't have it right in front of me, but we can do that and send that out. Or you can go to Fred. Fred Gavillo is the one that actually started out with this idea of doing succession planning and making it a more formalized action rather than going around in November and say, hey, anybody want this role? So Fred said, we're really at risk. Let's formalize this. So to simplify, asking questions or waving your hand saying, I'm interested, there's Fred's email, GVILLOF, Gavillo F for Fred, at pm.me. So you can go right to Fred, say, hey, this is me. Here's my name. Here's my call sign. I'd like to talk to so-and-so about this position. Fred will deal with all of that. He'll hook up the two people together and help that solve that. So you don't need to know the email of the person you're trying to get a hold of. You just need to know where your interest is and shoot Fred an email. Are there any questions in the room or on Zoom that anybody, any of the leadership team could answer, or board members or anything?
Question.
Yes.
Is the voting being done the way it is now with two being voted now and two being voted later? Is that standard, or is the election usually all four positions at once?
So we're working on, that's an excellent question, Brad. We are working on the bylaws, and honestly, we have some errors in them as far as the sequencing and terms. And we had a kind of a side conversation earlier tonight where the leadership team said we need to fix the bylaws. Lori has made a pass at the bylaws. Ron has made a pass at the bylaws. We're going to be discussing those at our next board of directors meeting. Since you came to the last board of directors meeting, and anybody else that's interested, feel free to come. I will again send out the invitation to you to be able to attend, and also Matthew. But the position should be sequenced, so we're not always electing everybody in the same year. We try, and this is my fault. This is where I did not have the foresight to see what problem I was creating. So I will take credit for screwing this up. We wanted to make sure that we did not have any positions that went open. And what I said and what we did in the bylaws is we allowed people to rerun for 1 year rather than 2, because some people said, well, I know I can do it for 1 more year and I'm willing to do that, but I don't know if I can sign up for 2. So we changed it. So because of that, everything is coming up for renewal with the exception of vice president and treasurer this year. So get rid of me as president and we'll fix the sequencing on the elections, that everything won't happen at the same time. But that was a very big blunder I made, trying to keep people in the leadership position that couldn't commit for more than 1 year. And I created this, explosion. Great question. Any other questions?
I have one, Bruce, if we're through the important stuff.
Go for it.
This does not require an entry on PowerPoint. We need at least one, and it would be nice to have 2 alternate Zoomers. It's conceivable that I might be somewhere else on a meeting night, and it would be really good to have somebody ready to take over this little operation.
Excellent point. I think that's something that I just took a note. We will add that. Well, first of all, if anybody is interested in that, get a hold of Wilson, send Fred a note, send why you're doing that. And we'll work out, we'll talk about that at the next board meeting. Because, that brings up a couple of things in my mind with where do we keep the equipment? Because right now the equipment goes back and forth with you. It's not saying it's an impossibility, but, let's take this one offline as another very important thing to discuss, because you are right. We should not have any one person as a single point of failure for especially something as important as Zoom. I mean, if you didn't have Zoom, you wouldn't get to listen to me tonight. Maybe you shouldn't have Zoom. But yeah, that's a very important point, Wilson. Thanks for bringing it up.
Believe it or not, I got 2 volunteers in the room. Ron, who already knows how, I know, and Chip, who I know is more than qualified. So we'll take more, but we have 2 now.
That's excellent. So really, with those volunteers, I think the process becomes, my suggestion, we can workshop this for 2 seconds. My suggestion would be, the 3 of you get together and figure out how to manage the storage or transfer of or handoff of, whatever you want to call it, all of the necessary equipment should whoever had it last will not be available to give it to somebody that'll manage it next. So if I could add that as an action item for the three of you to discuss, and then, you know, we can add that to the next board meeting, and you guys can come and tell us, or one of you can come and tell us, whatever works out. But I would like to throw that out as an action item to the three of you.
And we'll have a tutorial next meeting.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Super, super question, Wilson. Anything else? Okay,